friends from EU, partners from media, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome this afternoon. Economy pe Minister of State has already talked about where we are in terms of the macroeconomic stability, and therefore I'm not going to go into that detail. Alhamdulillah, we are in a good place. Now, it is incumbent on us, it's extremely critical that we now leverage this position to do what we need to do in terms of bringing permanence to that macroeconomic stability. और इसमें जो अभी लेटेस्ट इन्फ्लेशन पे बात हुई है, I think that's obviously it has surpassed all expectations, and a number of reasons for that, and on the back of that I do think it's going to continue to buttress the economy and sort of take us from the stabilization to the growth path as we go forward. Inflation पे मैं सिर्फ इसलिए ये बात करना चाहता हूँ कि last week when our debt management office we rejected all bids. That was a very symbolic move and a very important move to ensure that everyone and all stakeholders get the message that the government is in no desperation to borrow. When we borrow, we'll borrow at our terms. And for the banking sector, the message is very loud and clear that they need to start lending to the private sector, because that is what Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's administration strongly believes, that the government is there to provide policy framework and policy continuity. It's the private sector which has to lead the country. तो इसलिए जो भी हम उसका ecosystem बना रहे हैं, उसमें the financing part plays a very important role. And therefore we wanted to ensure that signal goes out, and it's good to see that has been picked up, because when it comes to the business community and when it comes to the business sector, it's not about the policy rate, it's the KIBOR. And that is the benchmark which is used for the borrowing of the various segments of the society. Lekin even more importantly, because that's where we are today, we need to leverage and to ensure that this macroeconomic stability जो इस वक्त आई है मुल्क में अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, उसको हम पूरी तरह leverage करें to ensure that we continue with the structural reforms, because that has been the bane of our country. For the longest time we've known the what and the why part of it, कि tax to GDP बढ़ाना है, energy sector reforms करनी है, SOE reforms करनी है, privatization की तरफ जाना है, पर हम करते नहीं हैं. And therefore this is a fantastic opportunity that we now utilize this moment, and it is a defining moment for the country, that we go with full rigor and vigor in terms of these structural reforms. Because if the Prime Minister says that this is going to be the last program, the only way it is going to be the last program if we execute what we have said we will execute around these structural reforms. And we are very committed as an administration, as Finance Ministry, and all cabinet colleagues to actually get it done. Now, coming to the topic at hand. देखिए, this is very, very important from इस पे बड़ी मुफस्सल गुफ्तगू सबने already कर ली है, लेकिन from my perspective, why all of this is very important, because ये तो एक slogan बन चुका है ना, that data is the new oil. But the point is, what do you do with that data, right? In the first instance, it can't be just raw data. It has to be done through data analytics. और उसके लिए you need an interactive platform like this, right? It's for us in the Finance Ministry, and then all other ministries, और उसमें मैं एक मिनट में वापस आऊँगा, but academia, research, our media and journalist colleagues, because this provides you the transparency. You don't have to go into the libraries, you don't have to go dig into the books. This provides you the fact base. Right or wrong, we may like it, we may not like it, depending upon which administration was there, but that's the fact base. And that fact base is on your fingertips, going back 50 years. So it's tremendous. And you can, play around with it because it's interactive. So I think that part is very important. The second thing, what Dr. Imtiaz said, wherever we have gone into technology and technological platforms, and I also see what's happened in FBR, that we have done fantastic things in verticals. We have done great job in terms of automating one vertical, the other vertical. But why digital Pakistan has not been able to go forward? Because there has been no horizontal layer. Data is not integrated. اور وہ ہم نے سیکھ رہے ہیں اب FBR میں کہ ہم نے اگر آدھار کی طرح ایک نیشنل آئیڈینٹی کو آگے لے کر جانا ہے اینڈ ایوری تھنگ بینگ لنکڈ ٹو دیٹ نیشنل آئیڈینٹی. یہ جو ابھی سب بات ہو رہی ہے نیو فائلرز کی, اور جو ابھی بات ہوئی ہے کہ the total filers going up, that data was always there. We never connected the dots. And that's what is now happening in terms of providing that horizontal layer. So I hope, Dr. Imtiaz, with your efforts, what you have done to date, and I compliment you and your entire team to get us to this stage, at least this vertical is there, this information is available, you don't have to wait for economic service, this is real time, it's available. Let's go down and sort of, you have all the, the drop down things, and you can, as I said, you can do various analytics on that. But then also see what we can do across the government, so that we can make it whole of the government approach, right? جو آپ نے ابھی بات کی پاکستان بیورو آف اسٹیٹسٹکس کی, اسٹیٹ بینک کی آپ نے بات کی ہے, اور چیزوں کی بات کی ہے, وٹ ایور از پرمیسیبل انڈر دا لا آف دا لینڈ, ایٹ لیسٹ لیٹس جسٹ میک شیور دیٹ دیز تھنگس گیٹ انٹیگریٹڈ, تاکہ جب ہم گوئنگ فارورڈ جب ہم بات کریں تو فیکٹ بیس بات کریں. Not on the basis of premises, not on the basis of what we think, you think. Of course, the views are always there, and views are welcome. But it's the more it is fact-based, the better it is. The other thing is, and the last thing I just want to mention is that I see this as an avenue, as a platform where we can collaborate. Because government کے پاس عقل کل نہیں ہے. We want کہ academia, the research organizations across the country, the think tanks, we all come together. And this is one platform. Once you do the analysis and you come back and question us and give us views, advice, your thought process. And it can be criticism, it can be constructive criticism, it can be around fiscal reforms, tax policy, public expenditure, macroeconomic stability. But what we do with this kind of platform is we talk with a fact-based, evidence-based approach. Because to me that is very critical. آپ کے اپنے views ہو سکتے ہیں, میرے اپنے views ہو سکتے ہیں, لیکن the more they are grounded in fact bases where we can back them up with real data, I think that's where transparency comes in on the part of the government. That's where I think we can also have more constructive and productive discussions as we inshallah go forward. So with that, I just want to say, Dr. Imtiaz, once again, very well done. Our finance secretary is traveling. I wanted to say it happened under his leadership, Mr. Imdad Bosal, but Nashita is here representing him. Unko kisi kaam ke silsile mein mulk se bahar jana pada, otherwise he would have been here today. Of course, the Planning Commission, the EAD, all of us sort of come together in this effort, and I do think it's something I'm glad we are celebrating it, and I'm sure this will add a lot of value in terms of the economic scale and in terms of the quality of discussions that we have between the government and all the stakeholders. Thank you very much.
وزیر خزانہ محمد اورنگزیب پاکستان اکنامک ڈیش بورڈ کی افتتاحی